His name is John Wilson.
Okay.
This is Bonnie Peters. Her and I went together when I was, in fact, I went to her alumni up there.
Oh,
For the year before
Yeah,
she had the alumni.
Okay, for the recording, we're recording now on both the video and on here. Don't be nervous. Since you're telling some stories, we kind of want to get it in fact, and that way we can kind of run it down the line with you since you're going through there.
Okay.
For each record, when and where did you serve in the service?
Well, I've got a list, but
Well, I just, the basics. You were Navy?
yeah, he's in the
Okay.
Navy, in the South Pacific for the first 3 years.
Oh, goodness.
So how long were you in the service?
6 years altogether.
6 years?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
did you serve during wartime?
Yeah, it was all during the war.
World War II?
Except when I got out there, when I went to Japan,
Mhm.
and then the war was over, and I caught this tanker there, which I have records.
Okay.
I went over there for the occupation. They give us Army clothes.
The Navy gave you Army
Yeah.
clothes? Uh-huh.
We were supposed to went in on the invasion of Japan. And they give us rifles, carbines, and they wouldn't give us no ammunition, because they would shoot our foot off if they'd come up. But
Oh, what did
we
you...
took the rifles over there,
Mhm.
and a lot of them was sent them home. I said, "You get caught." I said, "Portsmouth, full of them people." And they took them down to the warehouse. And then she said, "Put them in that pile over there." I said, "Don't you want to know the serial number of it?" No, just throw it down. They gave them back to the Japanese.
That was
But they took all these ships was in there. Like the battleship, I got a picture of it. And they took a torch and cut it right down in the center of the gun. Didn't know the story.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to take the guns all off of them. And they took the guns off of this Jap battleship that was sitting in Tokyo. And we stole the boom off of it. We went to Okinawa and we broke the boom there, trying to lift one of these LCVPs up on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And the captain made him a new gig. They made him one for him. And he wanted the bigger boom. So when we pulled in Tokyo, he says, "I want that boom on that battleship." So the guys went over and got it for him. And right after that, they pulled a little DE up alongside of it. And it was a USS Horse Bass. Well, I knew a chief was on the Horse Bass. Him and I was in the South Pacific for 3 years. And he was that close to him and I didn't even see him.
Oh, you didn't see him?
No.
Oh, my goodness.
So you served in the Navy? What were exactly, I mean, did you have the same duties all the time? Were you always on a ship? What did you do?
No, I first went in, I went to California, the Treasure Island, or Goat Island first. That's where I got rid of my hammock. I slept in a hammock in boot training.
Uh-huh.
And you'd hear guys hitting the deck all during the night. You had to keep them tight. A lot of them would fall out of sleep
Oh,
on
I'm
the floor
sure.
unless they got caught.
Uh-huh.
Even if it was extra duty, if you got caught sleeping on the floor. But anyhow, they took their hammocks away from us and left just with a sea bag. You had to wrap your hammock up and put your sea bag in the center of it and then tie the ropes around it and have it ship shape, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that was done away with that. I'm glad they did. That was at Good Island. Then we went to Treasure Island, where I met a good bunch of guys off of this USS Wasp. They was just getting home off of 30 days survivor leave.
Mm.
And the biggest part of them was from Texas. Well, they like to brag.
Yeah.
So what year did you enter the service?
42,
42, and how old were you?
17.
So your parents had to sign for you,
Oh,
huh?
yeah.
Okay.
Dad said, "What are you going to do? Go back to school or go to work. Well, I was working at Joe Frank's poultry at the time. And I said, I'm not going back to school, because I transferred from here in 1940 and went to Beaver Creek. And in 41, I said, they won't transfer my agriculture credits. On account I didn't finish my agriculture thing down here. I had a sow, and I had to take it back to the guy that gave it to me. They had an agriculture project where if you raised a sow and took it back and bred it to his board, and then if she had pigs, he got not less than 2 pigs or more than 4.
Okay.
So mine had 9, and the first one was born dead, and it was the biggest.
Oh.
But he got 4 pigs, and I got 4 pigs. And they sold it when we went to Dayton. And I took it to the fair to show it. And the guy who was checking them, he took his cane and rubbed her across the belly, and she flopped over right in front of him. He said, if you'd have left her home, she said, she's heavy with pigs. She said she would have got first place if she hadn't been heavy with pigs.
Oh my goodness. So this is right before you went to the service, this
Yeah.
happened, yeah, okay.
Well, they sold the sow and 4 pigs. I think they took that money and moved to Dayton.
Okay, and then you signed up for the service.
So you volunteered instead of being drafted?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to Raider Navy.
Did you have any brothers that served in the military, or?
No, I had one brother dead.
Okay. And so you served all through the war, and then after the war was over?
Yeah.
Okay. So what were your primary duties on board ship? What was your
Well, I
assignment?
first went in, I went to Treasure Island, like I said, and then they sent a bunch of these guys out to different ships. Some of them went on battleships and destroyers, and there was about 30 of us left. But we went to San Jose, California, the Lighted Air Station. We stayed there 3 weeks, and they got up the 30 of us and took us to Santa Ana, California, where they were building a new blimp base. And that was Christmas of '42, and Roosevelt said all those servicemen who was in home would be home for Christmas for 5 days, Christmas leave. Well, I went down to put in for 5 days, and that guy says, "You going back to Ohio in 5 days on a train?" He says, "It'd take you 5 days to get there, and 5 days
to get back. Yeah.
He said, "You've got the duty." So I put in for sea duty then.
Did you?
And they said, "You never make a rate if you go to sea. They're hard to come by." So I went on this, there was, I had it in this book where I had got on this ship. It was a wooden ship. They only had 30-some men on it. Wooden ship. And
A
there
Navy ship that was
there
wooden.
10 of them. Well, there was several Navy ships that were wooden.
I didn't know
Mine
that.
layers were wooden ships. Mine sweepers. Some of them was wooden first part of the war. So that if the mines hit them, they wouldn't go off. Or a submarine, they kept us we'd take that Navy frogman in to close to the beach and drop them off, and the submarines couldn't detect us where we was at.
Because of the being
Because it was
wood?
wood.
Being wood.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness,
And
neat.
we went to, well, we first went to Pearl Harbor, and that was a few months after the war, when Pearl Harbor was bombed. And they still had, the Oklahoma was still upside down, or laying on its side. And they sent a working parties over there to clean it up a couple of days. And they'd scrape, scrape the paint on it when they got it turned back over. And every once in a while, a mattress cover, or a mattress would float out.
Float out, oh jeez.
And, they got it back in commission right after we left there. Anyhow, there was a guy that was on when I went in, that had got on the battleship and they went on to North Carolina. So I seen this guy on the beach and he said, have you seen Barry? We was talking about you the other day. And I said, no, not since I went to San Francisco at Treasure Island. And he said, Barry's on the North Carolina and he runs the ice machines. He says, go aboard and see him. So I did, and we had shot together. And he said, what kind of ship are you on? I said, that little thing sitting down there at the dock.
He laughed a little bit,
Yeah.
didn't he?
And as the story goes, I was in there 2 years after that. And we come back into Pearl, and the North Carolina was in there again. So I says, went over and I says, I told him my name, and he didn't come back this time. I just figured he got killed, so I went back to the ship. And then in '92, I went aboard the North Carolina, down at Wilmington, and I talked to the woman down there who was directing, and she says his name's not on the list. He wasn't killed. She said they only lost 10 guys during the war. Only 10 guys of the 4 years it served.
That's
Wow,
really,
that's
yeah,
So
that's
it's a good
really,
record.
that sure is.
And 10,000 of them in the 4 years was from the state of North Carolina.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and went on that ship.
Huh.
And I was thinking he was killed all this time. Yeah.
He wasn't on the list. So did you
No,
ever get to see
I
him?
never found
So
him.
did you keep up contact with
He
some of the
was-
friends
he
you
was-
made during
Oh
your years
yeah,
there?
yeah, I've
You're
got,
still in contact, or, I mean,
yeah. My cousin, he come and see me one time in Sasebo and wanted me to go to Seoul with him. And I went around to all the offices and they wouldn't let me go. I was restricted to the ship.
so you were in Japan during, just after the war, during the
Just right after,
occupation?
yeah.
What were your duties there? Were you still
Well,
on
I was a
shipbound,
cook
or did they
before
have
I went
you?
there. Well, like I tell you, when I went on this wooden ship,
Uh-huh.
I was, I had the duties right out of San Francisco one morning. I was standing on watch, and we had grapefruit that morning for breakfast. And wham, something hit me upside the head, and I thought, well, somebody throwed a grapefruit at me. And when it got daylight, looked down in this gun turret, and there was a flying fish. It had come up over the side and hit me.
Oh, really? Oh my
You wouldn't
gosh.
think they would get that high, but it's about 10 feet.
Oh my gosh.
So did I hear you say you were a cook?
Well, they asked me then, I said, I'm getting tired of standing these watches. So I was working in the galley as a mess cook. Well, the second class cook, he got in a fight. He would let water out of the sink one day, and the guy was over the sky scraping paint. And he told him, he come up and he told him, he said, don't let that water out there, we're scraping paint over the side here. And he was in there making coffee, and I'd been washing dishes and stuff in the sink, and I must have went to the restroom or somewhere. Anyhow, this first class cook, he came in, he said, well, he forgot to dump that water, and he pulled the plug on it again. And that guy come back, he met him just as he come up over the side of the ship, and he hit him and blacked his eye. Well, he rubbed it all the time. And he went swimming in this salt water,
Oh.
and they wound up taking his eye. But he left the ship right after that. He went to a hospital ship, and then they sent him back to Riverside, California. We got a letter from him, he says, I got stateside duty. Still second class, so he didn't give no heart.
Right. That was one eye.
And so I took his place. I took the other guy's place. That was this guy here. He taught me. He was second class, and he made first class. Then when I left, he went on an ARD. That was when they first come out. That was right before the war was over. And they carried these tanks and stuff inside of them. It was like an LST, only bigger. And so he made chief and went on it.
Wow.
I don't know whatever happened to him. I tried to get a hold of him. They was both from Galveston, Texas. And this guy here, he killed a taxi driver in Boston.
They'll do that to you up there
Before the
sometimes.
war. Before the war.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was in a brig, and they said they would let him out if he'd go to sea and not come back till after the war was over. Time served.
What a deal.
So he went to come on the ship I was on. And then when I went to the hospital, we went to, after we went to Pearl Harbor, we went to Bora Bora. We got a bunch of bananas down there, and fried green bananas. And they have bananas down there as big as your arm.
Oh my goodness.
But they have to wait till they get ripe before you can pull them. That's the same way with when we was in Savai'i. They have a grapefruit that big around, and you peel it and it's just like an orange.
Oh my goodness.
It's pink. I don't know whether they mixed that with the pink grapefruit. That's how they got them. But you couldn't pick them in a ship because you couldn't pick the green. You had to wait till they get ripe.
So how long were you in occupied Japan?
7 months before I got on this Tamalpais.
I got on what?
The Tamalpais, this tanker I was on.
Okay.
Is that it?
And
So were you in Tokyo?
Yeah. We went into Tokyo, right?
And what were your duties while you were there?
Well, I was still a cook.
I didn't know. So your duties didn't change a whole lot through the
Well, I
time
went
that you
on.
served?
I was
or-
first class when I went on. See, I made third class,
Uh-huh.
and I have a letter here where that was. Anyhow, we went to the hospital. There was a Jap plane down in Tulagi in Zero, and there was 7 of us. Took this little worried boat and with an outboard motor and went on the beach to find that plane. We're going to make plexiglass, or make knife handles out of plexiglass in the cockpit. Well, this storekeeper, he found the pilot's helmet. You know, it was sheepskin, had goggles on it.
Oh my
He
gosh.
wore that thing on to it, sweat
The
with
entire
And
Oh.
somebody heard some shots, and they said, sniper. So I was down in the cockpit, going through it, and time I got out of it and got down on the ground, they was all back to the boat, and they had started out, and I dove in the water and come up alongside the boat. I said, "Well, you gonna leave me?" And the guy said, "Well, get in." I said, "I can't, damn it, you just run over my leg." And it hit my leg here, and it had 3 places on it. And the doctor said if it had been that much farther, you'd have to take your knee off or your leg off. Well, I worked in the galley, and down there, it just won't heal. I mean, the wounds. So they said, you better go to the hospital. And me and this other guy, we had cut off dungarees. We went over there to the hospital, and this big commander, he was a Marine, I believe, doctor. And he said, sit down in that chair, and he said, get a hold of both sides of it. He took my thigh and put it on that thing and took the scalpel and cut the scab right off of it. And he says, that hurts, don't it?
Oh, yeah.
He says, go ahead and cuss if you want to. But he said, I'll learn you to keep it clean.
Oh, Lordy.
And,
I hurt just thinking about
well,
it. Bet you got a nice scar.
he said, you can go in there and we can keep you here at the hospital heal some, then send you back to ship. And I went back, I said, no, I'll go back to ship. And I went back and the ship was gone.
Oh.
So I went back and he said, well, you need some dental work done. And the cruiser's right out at the end of the harbor. Why don't you go aboard to Honolulu? And me and this other guy that killed the taxi driver, we both went on to Honolulu, and they give us Marine khakis to wear.
Oh
So
my
we was in
gosh.
these shorts, you know, they
Yeah.
had to change. Well, they found out I was a cook, so I went to the galley right away. And they got underway. And I said, where are you going? We're supposed to catch our ship.
Well, no
It was
wonder
going
your
to
paperwork
Bougainville.
was lost forever because
Yeah.
of all the switching
Well, I
around
transferred to the hospital.
Mhm.
All I had was my health records.
Yeah.
My records are still on the 31. And this is where they put this sign here. I don't know, a lot of people don't like to read that sign. Admiral Halsey put it up. Anyhow, he put that sign right up beside that mountain there.
Okay, I see.
And we went to sea, and this ship here is Helena. That's the St. Louis. This is the Honolulu. And this is the ammunition ship here. And this was a boy that was on the USS Wasp, and I went up to California.
Oh.
He got in trouble on the ship, and he was in a convoy. And the captain told him to steer 115. He said, that's going right into that convoy, sir. And he come and pushed him out of the way. And he gave him a court-martial and transferred him.
Oh.
And he said, that's the best move I ever. He stayed there run that garbage scow all during the war.
Wow.
See, there's a shark right in there, a little bit, in the water line.
Oh, I can see it right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. That's what these guys were looking at there. That shark.
Was you were on the wooden ship for so long, was it ever fired on? I mean, did you guys take
Oh
any
yeah,
fire?
we first went in the Guadalcanal. That was the last 100-plane raid they had there. And I had pies in the oven. And I took it to test for third class cook. Well, they put me on a 20-millimeter gun, and I was cleared up forward, and I got on the headphones, and I said, I need a relief up here to take pies out of the oven. And that guy said, who in the hell is this on the phone? I said, this is a cook. If you want anything for chow, he said, you better let me go back get the dessert out of the oven.
Feeding it to the sharks.
That's too
Well, this is when I went on the Honolulu. I couldn't write for, we went to sea and was in this battle of Pulakoff. The Helena was sunk, and the St. Louis had her bow blowed off. And he wrote my mother this letter. I just found it the other day. About I was getting along all right.
That was so
He
nice.
didn't tell her the reason I couldn't write, because I wasn't on the ship anymore. I'm going to have my daughter to retype that so you can read it.
Yeah.
Is that MacArthur?
Yeah, that's MacArthur. That's Wainwright. You see how slim he is? He was just got out of that concentration camp. And here's skipper of the ship. He had just made captain of the
Now what ship?
Tamalpais. That was a Tamalpais, a tanker. And he wanted to show you his scrambled eggs. He had just made captain. He put 27 years in the Merchant Marine before he went to the Navy. And his name was H.A. Church. But he was the shortest man there. And he wanted to hold his head down so they could see see there.
Okay.
That's MacArthur.
Is this a surrender?
Yeah, that's his Jap assignment. And there's the picture of the Missouri. And here's a picture of the tanker I was on, the
Oh,
Tamaulipas.
back there.
Way up.
Okay.
See how
Were you
low
back
that
there
is?
watching, or did you get to be on the Missouri?
Yeah. He did- They let the captain aboard, that was it.
Yeah.
But they had, this is Nimitz assignment. There's Halsey. I don't know who that one is. There's MacArthur again. There's old Captain A.J. Shirts, surrendered Missouri. And this is a picture of the commissioning. And that was
Oh.
a picture I had, that was a picture I had in Hong Kong.
Mhm.
And when I got out, I kept it and I had it blowed up, and then I put it on my hats,
Oh.
and t-shirts,
Oh,
and jackets. And Earl Isaacs done it for me,
Yeah, Earl's good.
yeah.
So he did this.
Well, this is the guy here that would run over me with the boat when I,
Oh, gosh.
yeah. Well, he made chief, and then he went on the USS Forrest Bass, which is that thing there, and I didn't know that. See, when he went on there,
Mhm.
or he was on, and here's where they stole the boom, and that's the reason they pulled this up, so they wouldn't steal anything else. But they was taking the guns off of us. See, it had 3 out here, or 4, and they'd already taken them off, and then they sunk that during the atomic blast.
Jeez.
Well, here's the picture of the Honolulu when it was after.
So how many ships did you serve on during your time
Well,
in service?
I was on the 31.
31 ships?
No, I was on the APC 31.
Okay.
Okay.
And then went aboard the Honolulu. And,
Now, were you a cook on each ship that you served
well,
on?
yeah, if you was a cook,
You stayed cook.
you stayed a cook. Well, anyhow, when the skipper found out that the pies was in the oven, he says, they better be good. So he come back down after chow and he says,
They
you'll
were
be
good.
third class first of the month.
Oh.
That's when I made third class.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. And
So
there's
I
a
just want to
picture
know
of
if you still make
the bow of
pies.
the Honolulu. See, here it is right there, and it would shot off right down across there.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
And you were on that ship when it was shot off?
Yeah, and I was down below cooking, but they picked up 380 survivors off of the other ship, the Helena. And
Somebody had to feed
the
them.
St. Louis got hit there, they was pulling it back into Esperitos or Tulagi. And then the Honolulu went back to Espirito Santo. And the Robin's the one that pulled it back. And I was aboard the Robin then.
Okay.
And I went from the Robin over to the USS APC 41, had a chief cook on it, and he was going to go home. So since he was a cook on a 31, you can go aboard a 41 and relieve him. Didn't have my orders yet, but still on the 31. Well, I cooked on it till I got back to New Caledonia, and they said, if you stay aboard, we'll give you second class. That's what the captain said. I said, well, I'm going back to 31 where my orders are. So they sent my replacement, but I was second class. And he was second class, so they sent my replacement down to 31. I said, you go aboard the 41. I'm going back where I knew all the guys on the ship. So I went back to 41 or 31, and then I had to go aboard a hospital ship on account of my leg again. Got gangrene in it. I was on the Solus when this Graham was on there. He was 16 years old, and they caught him and they were sending him home. Well, he was on a cruiser that got hit, and boy, the nurses just swarmed around him like, anyhow, they made a movie of it.
I don't either.
Well, where he was from Texas, and he went in, he had his brother's birth certificate, and he went in, he served on this cruiser, and they was in battle, and he was a gun loader. And this officer, he says, nice shooting. He says, yeah, it ain't bad for a 13-year-old.
Oh.
Well, anyhow, or 14 or whatever he was, and they caught him, and the ship went clear back to New York. But he went aboard the Solus after he was hit that time, and then he went back to, and he tried to get the skipper to, he said he thought he could make him, keep him in a Navy, but he couldn't pull it off. Anyhow, they sent him back to Texas, and he went in the brig there and got in trouble, and they never, they gave him a dishonorable discharge.
Oh, yeah, because he falsified his papers, yeah.
At Carter, when he was president, he gave him an honorable discharge.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I remember.
Mhm.
There was a big stir.
Yeah.
Well, if
Okay.
you had one thing to say about your military experience positive, what would it be? What one positive thing did you get out of serving in the military?
Well, I wouldn't trade it with no one's high school or college education.
Wouldn't you?
No.
Better education than in the school?
Well, it ain't what you learn. What the Navy teaches you is the people you work with and
The experiences.
experience you get. And I come out, I was up for chief, and this guy here, he wrote me, he was on the Horace Bass. And he was telling me about, well, when I was in Japan, these, they said there was kamikaze pilots that got loose, but
Oh.
it wasn't nothing but, the people that fought in the Korean War, what was their name?
Chinese?
No, yeah. I
Can't think what it is.
I can't think of it. Anyhow, he tells about he was in Blood Alley, and he says every once in a while 2 or 3 sailors get killed, and but he said he knows some of these people down there that he sent me this in 47,
Yeah.
and it says in another letter where he said if I'm 38, he can get $117 a month. And that's a chief pay.
A month.
month.
Well,
Okay.
in the same instance, if you had one negative that you brought away from your service, what would that be? Or were there any?
Well, when they lost my records and stuff like that.
That was,
Big
yeah.
one.
No leave.
Yeah, he didn't get any leave. You were sitting with the camera. I don't know if you were, but had for how long?
I had 57 days leave, and plus I got 30 days when I come home from. That was before the war was over, 45. And then they sent me to school down in. After I went back to Columbus, and I went back to Cincinnati, and I went to Camp Perry, Virginia, where they was going to teach you how to bake bread in 100-gallon drums. And
That's a
they
lot
had
of bread.
these field ranges. I was on charge one morning, and I had corned beef, hash, potatoes in this field range, and I was pumping it up, and it was running the gas. And it caught on fire.
Ooh.
So I took this, and I hunt this fire extinguisher, which is put out that white stuff, you know. I
Yeah.
had white stuff in
In the food?
the
Oh.
corned beef hash, and the officer come in and he said, why didn't you get in touch with the officer today right away? I said, let the galley burn down? Well, he says, are we gonna have breakfast? Yeah, I said, we got some eggs on the boiling, we got some hash opened up. So,
So after the war was over, you still continued to be a cook for your last 2 years in the service?
well, yeah.
Now, when you got
I was
out,
acting chief on these last 2 shifts,
were you?
yeah.
Okay. So after you got out of service, did you continue being a cook as a career?
No, I wanted to work in the bakery, because I liked it. Yeah. But I'll see, a cook in the Navy, you don't have to bake if you're on a big ship.
Right.
All I done was made out the menus and cut what hams and stuff
Supervise
like that. Yeah.
fixing it.
And here's where I wrote in about 8 pages when I went on the Tamil 5. But before I went on in, we'd come back to, this guy here, he come to me and he was from Colorado. And he said, Cookie, we gotta have a good chow today. He said, Whizzer White's aboard.
Ooh.
I said, who the hell is Whizzer White? So I had roast pork and mashed potatoes and had applesauce for dessert. Well, the steward come along and he says, officers want to know what kind of dessert we're going to have. I says, can't they eat applesauce the same as the crew? Well, I says, in the freezer, I said, I've got some pudding I made up, put fruit cocktail in it. And I keep for these guys that get seasick.
Oh.
See, if you got something on your stomach, why, you don't get to see, it ain't as bad, you don't get the dry heaves. So I said, fix that up in some of them fancy dishes and take it up there to them. And you put them in them glass dishes, you know. And Whizzer White come back to the galley. He couldn't even get in the galley door. He was that big.
Oh my gosh.
And he says, that's the first ice cream I've had since I left the States.
Ooh.
Anyhow, it tells in here about we was on our way, he was a guide to take us up to this Bella La Bella, which is, that was where Pappy Boynton, you've seen that on television, when the Corsairs first come out. We was hid in the bushes with these PT boats and had palm trees and all kinds of brush piled on the ship so nobody could see us. And we supplied them with fuel oil for the PT boats. And we got a call one night and the crash boat had already went out to pick up some other guys. So we got underway and went out, and this PT boat had went clear into the beach and they'd run out of fuel.
Ooh.
And they'd taken 5 Marines with them.
It probably took off 5 to get out off the beach.
That's when Kennedy, he built this one boat that had, they put a 37 millimeter on the bow of it. And it taken the little guns and put them in the turrets where they had 50 caliber, they put 20 millimeters in there. And they'd run it clear up on the beach, and this one guy, he was seeing that they was going to hit the beach, and he run up there. He was a gunner's mate on the back half, and he run up there, and there the captain laid with his head was broke.
Ooh.
So he turned the ship around and come back out to sea, and then they run out of gale. That's when they called us. There's only one guy that didn't get hit on that ship that night, and he was a radioman, and he got hit right in the back of the head, and it scraped him. He reached up like that and seen the blood and passed out.
Oh my.
And the Marines, the 5 Marines they took with them, they was draped over the torpedo tube.
Oh.
They stopped that. They wouldn't let no more Marines go with them.
Well, we have another interview coming in, so I hate to cut you off, but I want to ask one final question. Are there any last remarks that you'd like to make or comments for posterity that you'd like to say?
Things that happened to me when I was in the Navy. There's my 3 battle stars. And this is what I got when I got out
Mm-hmm.
from James Forrestal.
Okay.
Served in the greatest navy in the world.
That's nice.
Sunk 2 enemy fleets. And
Wow. Isn't that wonderful?
we was coming back when I was started to come back. I was in the brig.
Oh.
The skipper had got transferred when I just made first class, and that was the one that wrote the letter, Armour. And he was going home, and this guy that took over, he said, things will change when I take over. I said to myself, I hope they do, because I said, you couldn't even navigate a rowboat. And we had a boxer a smoker one time, and he was wanting to put the gloves on me. That's what he felt about me. Well, I said, I'll meet you on the beach, but I won't put the gloves on in front of the men. There's that thing that they made me honorary admiral in Texas. I give that to this girl here to put in Ohio. I don't know what she ever did with it.
Yeah. We'll have to look for that. We want to display that.
Display.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
And here's the gig and the boom that they stole.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. There's the cooks that was on the town of Pine.
Oh, how neat.
There was some of them on watch then. And this guy here, we had a thing where the range wouldn't start, and the exec come in and he took the poker and he went to dipping down in there. I said, well, if he gets this damn thing lit, I said, I'm going to catch hell, so I pushed the damper off. So, as the damn thing flowed up and he was striking at it with the poker, and I looked around and this baker was sitting on his hands and knees on the floor, just a
I
dying
bet, no doubt.
And I said, I like for him to have been at the reunion. So he
Oh, and this is your reunion.
yeah, that was the first one,
first one,
Board of
okay.
Alabama.
Neat.
And this is me, that's where my
This is
office
Pearl.
was. That was me when I first made first class. That was when we were working out up on the 5-inch gun turret. This is the one that he was the president of this outfit we got now. And that was a weightlifter. We never found that, and that guy's dead. That was a Jap fleet there.
Oh gosh. Oh my.
It's not
Not
Fuji.
Fuji.
And that was a task force we putting together. And this is the guy that Florida, him and me, we was the one that started this reunion.
Oh.
Here he is with his Chinese girlfriend.
Oh, he married her?
No, that's his wife down in Florida.
Oh, okay.
This is in Hong Kong.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. It's Charlie Wright. And this guy here was, he was a photographer. He was a photographer for Chicago Police Force for 38 years.
Boy, he'd,
He used-
I bet he could write a book.
He used to, when they wouldn't have nothing for him to do, when the parade come to town, he got to drive President Truman around all over the place. He was a chauffeur, yeah. I carried this picture here in my belt for 50 years. The guys off of the ship. There's the one that was in Fullerton, California. This was when I was in the occupation of Japan. See, they're making coffee there.
Yeah.
We slept in this old garage here, and they'd got water on to wash our clothes here.
Jeez.
We would never eat at the chow hall. The cook never eats. In fact, I got put on report one time for having steak on Friday. I said the cook, anybody has to get up 4 o'clock in the morning, he decides to eat whatever he wants to, if it's there. And I went aboard this ship, and the guy was running the ship, he was chief, and he said, what can I do for you? I said, I want 5 boxes of them filet steaks. I gave the officers 2 of them, and I took 3 of them.
That's unfair.
This guy here down, he ain't got no hat on, they got a monkey there. And
Oh,
I went, this guy's got MS, so after I went to reunion in Mobile, I went up to see him. There he was.
Is that when he was,
in the
okay,
Navy.
when he was young?
There's what he is now.
Yeah, okay.
And there's, the guy was on the photographer,
Schmitty, okay.
Smitty, and he died not too long ago.
Oh.
There he is with his wife.
Mhm.
He sent me that picture postcard, so I had a calendar made out of this side, had it blowed up and sent it to him the year before he died.
Okay.
There's where I run that Mrs. Penny's bake truck in Japan. Him in Japan. And here's the orders where, see these, this is ship's log. These are confidential. This guy from Florida, he said, any of them you want, well, I'll send and get for you. And it tells about when I come aboard and when I went over the hill. And here's where the bakers got in trouble. Here's what I got when I was 9 hours late.
Oh my.
The guy gave me a warning.
I see that.
They said the old man must have, I must have given him steak and eggs. The other guy got 2 days of bread and water.
Okay.
Here's a picture of this is the male that runs it. He's treasurer of it now, the reunion. And these is all, it's when we got transferred and the ship broke up. They turned it back over to the Merchant Marine and they tied it to a tree. In 1948, they took all the guns off of it and they sent it back to sea. And it went to Korea, but it didn't have no guns off of it. They put new turbo diesel motors in. And during the Korean War, the Koreans took it, the South Koreans took it over, and they put spotlights on it so they go up to the boosters with the gunboats and find it. And here's a piece that this one gunner's mate's son wrote when we went to Mobile.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah. And there's a picture of the Alabama,
Jiminy.
the submarine.
Those are great pictures.
I got my wife to go aboard the
Big
submarine, but it was too big, and there's a cake I baked.
Oh, good for you.
St. Louis. And we're telling sea stories. That was the St. Louis reunion. There's a picture of the cooks again.
Oh, that's so neat.
This is my wife's brothers. That's my oldest daughter and the other daughter.
Oh.
And that was taken to him down in Kentucky. He worked at coal mine 30 years.
It's a rough
It
life.
was my cousin that got killed. And he
So
was,
while serving?
yeah, it was in Germany. And he played ball there in Dayton. He would have made a professional ball player if he'd lived. There's his brother. He was on the LST. He was on this USS 1000 LST. My last. There I am on the television.
Oh, neat.
Here's a picture. That's in the bicentennial book. Here.
Oh, okay.
That's my great grandson. Yeah.
Here you are in your kitchen.
No, that's on the Alabama.
That's what I'm, oh, that's not the one, okay.
Yeah, that's. We had them on the Honolulu was like that, big coppers. There's where you bake the potatoes. You put them in these steamers here. Fix the potatoes or vegetables. It's a submarine, and that was taken to California somewhere. I carried this picture to all my reunions.
Yeah.
And there was 2 or 3 women at the reunion that said, well, I've been down there.
Oh, they've
I
heard
said,
of
you're
it.
crazy then. Wade through them people just ate that sauerkraut.
Yeah.
I made the sauerkraut for 35 years here in Waynesville. And I still made some down there in North Carolina this year.
Did
for
you?
My daughter. 21 quarts, that's 3 batches.
Ooh, wee.
Put it in the crock and then canned it. That was a picture when I first went in. And she's the only one left, that's my own
Aw.
sister.
You were just a little guy.
Yeah, yeah, I was little there. There's my wife.
Oh, beautiful.
When I went to work at the bakery, that's where I met her.
Oh, I
She
see.
came in for donuts, huh?
Yeah, well, no, she worked there.
Oh, okay.
And her sister worked there, and her brothers worked there. Well, I worked there for 20 years, and I said, I was working at a small shop at the same time. You know, to make ends meet, I had to work 2 jobs. So, yeah, still do a cooking once in a while.
I see that.
Where I'm making a sauerkraut,
Yeah.
canning beets.
Mhm.
I got a recipe where I can them beets and put Mrs. Weege's bread and butter pickle spices in.
Oh, okay.
Calls for
Oh, I bet that's delicious.
10 cups of white vinegar and 5 pounds of sugar. I only use 4 pounds.
Yeah.
And then a pack of Mrs. Weege's bread and butter pickle and can them up.
Seasoning, yeah. Sounds good.
That's at some of the reunion. That's where they made me the honorary admiral
That's
in
nice.
St. Louis.
You've had quite a few reunions then.
Yeah, I've been to 4 of them. Yeah, 4 of them.
It's wonderful.
But then
And
there
how many of you are left, did you say?
well, there was 105. I had the list.
That's pretty good.
This is a officer come in, that one officer that gave me so much trouble there in Pango. It was down there at that time, this dry dock place.
Oh.
And he said, all cooks over the side. I said, wait a minute, we just come off watch. We're not going over the side. He said, well, I'll see. And he went back down to see the captain. And they had already I was ashore with the cook on that night. And we was at the Service Club drinking, and he turned his ankle and he stomped his foot on it. I can't broke my ankle, and he went to the hospital and he broke his ankle.
Oh.
And
So-
y'all cheered, did you?
So he says, all cooks down to the dry docks. We had to go down there and do the cooking. We didn't have to scrape no paint. And that's a picture of the Alabama.
Big ship.
You know, that was a picture they had inside of a destroyer. That was on the Alabama. This Congress.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Uh,
That was just happened to be on the back of that.
yeah,
There you are with Earl.
there's Earl and John
Mhm.
Glenn.
John Glenn, yeah.
Yeah. There was that boy from
Whizzer
Chicago.
White.
Well, this is
Yeah.
Thomas when O'Connor was getting
Uh-huh.
sworn in as Supreme
Right.
Court judge.
That is a
He's-
terrific book.
Yeah, that is wonderful.
Well, I've got it sat high where everybody wrote in this. Then I put this in it about what I wrote
Yeah.
in it, and but when I was after he took over, I stayed ashore all night, and I come back, and he says. The Marines picked me up and took me back. Well, I was with this girl, and she was running from her brother.
Oh.
Well, she says, come in this church here. He won't come in here. So I went in there, and I passed out. I've been drinking this good gin, so I passed out. Well, when I got back to the ship, the old man said, you're going to the brig. And I said, well, I've been to the brig before. I don't worry about that. So he gave me 10 days.
Gee, man.
Well, 7 of them, I pulled 7 of them. And the one sergeant said, hell, Cookie, you can do that standing on your head. But the second day I was there, see, it rains down here every day
Oh, yeah.
in Pango. And he said, fall out and go get the foul weather here. Well, I run into this closet and got my poncho and boots, and on the way back out, this Marine sergeant stepped up there in the doorway, and I stepped on his shoes. And look at that. You don't even think it's funny, do you? No, sir. He said, you know, I could have you shot for that. He said, you put them boots back, you'll shine shoes the rest of the day.
Oh,
And he even had me taking steel wool and shining the little brass foot.
no.
Well, a Sunday they come and got me. And I'd been in there 7 days. And I went back to the ship, and the skipper said, I hate to do this, but he said, you've got a half hour to get off the ship. Here's your orders. So I flew from there to Christmas Islands, and then an officer was going to bump me there off the seaplane, and the captain said, you want to ride on the mail bags? I said, anything to get back to the States. Well,
Take me.
yeah,
Strap me to the
that
wing at
was the
this
roughest plane ride I ever had.
Probably were sick
And I
as a
got
dog.
into
Fadden, June 5th, 2001.